Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And once again, this is the one-day chart. We're sitting here at $2.07. XRP was in the green, but it's not like it was a major comeback yet. I still want to see XRP move above $2.20 and then see where we go from there. If we break above $2.30, that's when things will start to get interesting. But it is nice to see XRP holding above $2. A lot of people were expecting a major dip on the price of XRP. And look at Bitcoin back above 90K once again. And we are either going to see Bitcoin start to break out from here, or we're going to see more dumping of Bitcoin, bringing the price back down. One thing is for sure, though, the ETF outflows on Bitcoin, they're not slowing down. And that money is going somewhere. I think a lot of it is ending up in XRP ETFs. And look at the fear and greed index. People are becoming less fearful in crypto, and the chart shows it. But you know, whenever there's fear, right away, people become very negative as well. And that negativity, it's contagious. Everybody seems to get caught up in it. It's like, oh, the price is down. It's like, I don't even look at the price of XRP. Really, I don't. Because I know where XRP is going from here. XRP stays resilient despite 510 million sell-off. Why this zone matters now. So are buyers absorbing the whale pressure? That's what everybody's wondering. Because even though there's whales selling off massive amounts of XRP, it seems like that XRP is getting bought up by someone else. And it's not really affecting the price of XRP. Like I said, I think the whales most likely thought the same thing. Can we get cheap XRP under $2? But yet, XRP held up very well. Is alt season next? Macro signals say alts have more upside into 2026. Absolutely. The best return on investment is not in Bitcoin. It's in altcoins, especially utility-driven cryptocurrencies like XRP, XLM, XDC, and so on. But everybody wants alt season to begin. I still believe it's going to begin by the end of December. I'm really hopeful that that happens. Nobody knows for sure what this market is going to do next because there's way too much market manipulation going on in the background. But if they allow Bitcoin to start to break out, of course, it's going to take the rest of the market with it. And that's what everybody's calling for right now. Tom Lee and so on, Raw Paul, they're all very bullish on Bitcoin breaking out from here. But alt season is absolutely coming. When is it going to happen? Nobody really knows. And Dark Defender says XRP and silver will make people thrilled. So he's expecting a major breakout on the price of XRP. Now he's calling for price points anywhere between $10 and $20. Other people think we're going much higher, and I agree with that. I think maybe $10 is a stopping point, maybe $20 is a stopping point, only to see XRP go even higher. I still think with all these ETF inflows, XRP exiting circulating supply, and demand rising, I think we're going to see a run like we have never seen before. And I think a lot of people are going to get financial freedom. Everybody that holds XRP, though, is going to get life-changing money. I always said 1,000 XRP in this run, somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000. That's being conservative. That's what you could expect for every 1,000 XRP you hold. Now, It could be worth a lot more, maybe 50K to 100K, but it's still too early to say where XRP is going to top out, if it tops out, because I also believe that we're not going to see these major pullbacks that everybody is calling for. How do you get pullbacks when clarity is about to get passed in the United States? How do you have pullbacks with consistent inflows of money into those ETFs? And at the same time, we're watching transactions amp up on the XRP ledger as well. That's why I don't think the pullbacks are going to be as deep as people think. XRP price prediction. Ripple set to crash or rally after today's Fed meeting. So we have the Fed meeting today, and I don't think XRP really runs on what the Fed does. Now, when the Fed, if he doesn't cut rates, there's a good chance the market will dump. That's for sure. If he does cut rates, the market, of course, will pump a little bit. But so far, the Fed cutting rates has not been spectacular for crypto. I see people saying, if the Fed cuts rates, Bitcoin's going to 200K. Well, the Fed already cut rates twice, and Bitcoin did not go to 200K. So I'm not expecting the same thing to happen this time around. Now, we could either see a small pump or a small dip. One or the other is going to happen. But I don't think it's going to be something spectacular like people are building it up to be. Top U.S. bank CEOs to meet with senators to discuss crypto market structure legislation. Oh, so bring the bankers in to talk about crypto market structure. Does that make any sense to any of you? Because it absolutely makes no sense to me. These are the same people that want to hold back innovation. These are the same people that were part of the crypto crackdown. These are the same people cashing in on this current system we're in right now. So why the hell would they want a new system? They wouldn't. And all this is going to do is kick the can down the road even more. I don't think Jamie Dimon should be talking about crypto. I don't think anybody on this panel should be talking about crypto. They hate it. They don't like the idea of it taking out the middlemen, and they are the middlemen. 21 Shares has updated its XRP ETF filing with the SEC. Launch could be closer than ever. Everybody's anticipating the 21 Shares spot XRP ETF because they're expecting it to be bigger than all the rest. And again, this could happen at any moment. If that ETF goes live, it's just more XRP coming out of circulation. And Stephen McClurg said this: "We are very humbled to be part of this. I spent the majority of my career managing institutional money, and Canary identified the strong institutional demand for XRP. Watch RLUSD blow past other stablecoins under the guidance of Brad and the Ripple team. The growth of the two is related." So he's very bullish on RLUSD. I always said at some point it's going to enter the top 10. Then it's going to go on to become the #1 stablecoin. And Brad Garlinghouse said this: "Less than 4 weeks, and XRP is now the fastest crypto spot ETF to reach $1 billion in AUM since ETH in the United States. With over 40 crypto ETFs launched this year in the U.S. alone, a few points are obvious to me. 1. There's pent-up demand for regulated crypto products, and with Vanguard opening up access in traditional retirement trading accounts for Americans, crypto is now accessible to millions more people who don't need to be experts in the technology. And 2, longevity, stability, and community are all underrated themes that matter to this new set of off-chain crypto holders." So Brad remains bullish on these spot XRP ETFs. And he sees the demand as well. And that demand is not slowing down. It just seems to be intensifying as time goes on. Everybody wants some sort of exposure to XRP. Me personally, I don't get the ETFs. Why not just hold the actual asset? Now, I know when it comes to institutions, it's easier for them to invest through an ETF. But I also see a lot of retail investors saying, instead of holding the actual asset, I'm just going to go and buy into the ETF. If you're a retail investor, hold the actual asset. XRP poised for a big bounce amid rising FUD. Could a double-digit rally be next? Unlike Bitcoin, XRP has fallen 31% in 2 months, while social metrics show FUD at its highest level since October. Conditions that could set the stage for a rapid double-digit rally. So they're saying with the market where it is right now and all the FUD around XRP, can XRP pull off a double-digit run? Absolutely. You know, whenever people hate this cryptocurrency, that's when it seems to perform at its best. When the breakouts happen, they're massive breakouts and they come out of nowhere. And anybody that thinks that XRP is going to continue to sit where it is right now, they're absolutely wrong. This reminds me of back when we were sitting at 50 cents for like 2 years, and everybody said XRP's never going back above $1 again. The more that they hated on this cryptocurrency, the more that pent-up demand kept rising for this cryptocurrency. Then we got a pro-crypto administration and somewhat of a level playing field. And XRP, all it did so far was correct. The run for XRP hasn't even began yet. And I stress that. People keep thinking like we're halfway up a candle. Look at the pattern on the chart. It shows you that XRP's price corrected with the pro-crypto administration. The run hasn't started. And now there's a lot of talk about the government confiscating your XRP. So in light of President Trump's Bitcoin strategic reserve and digital asset stockpiles, executive orders to explore the option. Looking at the XRP escrow and Satoshi's Bitcoin wallet, is there a possible scenario for U.S. government confiscation? How about David Schwartz's comment about the scenario of the U.S. government or NSA confiscating Satoshi's Bitcoin wallet? So you see here, and this is an older post. It was from 2021, I believe. So confiscation of the escrow XRP would certainly be within executive powers. But in a twist of irony, the Fed would have to declare XRP a currency before confiscation. That came from Jeremy Hogan. David Schwartz said this. It would be interesting to see what would happen in a case like that. There's really no way to predict it. It would be similar to what would have happened if the NSA found Satoshi and forced him to give up his keys. Would the Bitcoin community respond by making his Bitcoin unspendable? Me personally, I don't think anybody's coming for your XRP. This goes down the path of the buyback scenario. It goes down the path of they're never going to let XRP holders get rich. They don't care if you get rich. You could become a millionaire. Nothing's going to change if a bunch of XRP holders become overnight millionaires. Nobody's going to come and take your XRP from you. But every once in a while, this argument shows back up once again. And when it comes to the escrow, now Ripple could hand some of that escrow over to the U.S. government, but I really don't think they're coming for the escrow either. I think if the U.S. wanted to utilize XRP for its actual use case, they would cut a deal with Ripple. And look at Ripple is on the path of becoming a major bank. When I say major, the possibility of Ripple becoming a central bank is still there because Ripple is a one-stop shop for everything now. But again, At some point, I think the escrow is going to the IMF, the World Bank, and so on. We got to see what happens, but the government is not going to seize your XRP. And I stress that. And like I said at the beginning of this video, we're sitting here at $2.07. I want to see where XRP goes from here because we're still in that channel between $2 and $2.15. Once we start to break above that, that's when things should start to get interesting. And it all comes down to Bitcoin. Are they going to let it continue upward from here? Or are we going to see another major dump on Bitcoin as well? Now, if that dump happens, it just means that this cycle is extended once again. If they let it breathe, that solidifies we are going into alt season very soon. And like I always tell you, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.